I've created the perfect striker in Football Manager with 20 out of 20 for every single attribute. Then we're going to simulate his career and find out how well he performs. However, I've made him a rival. This striker has 20 out of 20 for every single attribute that is required to be an advanced forward. Every other attribute is 10 out of 20. Now, despite the big difference in attribute numbers, they both actually have 200 out of 200 current ability, meaning that they are the best footballers in the game. They've also got the exact same hidden attributes as well, so they're completely identical in those areas. I've also used the in-game editor to freeze their attributes to ensure that nothing changes throughout their careers and they stay tip-top condition forever. And so given that they've got the exact same current ability, it's going to be really interesting to find out how much one player might dominate over the other. Personally, I think that the player with 20 out of 20 attribute is going to be much better than the player with only 20 in the areas to be an advanced forward, because surely a player who is much more well-rounded, despite having the same current ability, is just going to be a lot better. I mean, on paper, look how much better the player with 20 for attributes in everything is. Like, just so much better. I've made them both Spanish because despite Spain beating Costa Rica 7-0 the other night, they do, to me, lack a striker and so need a generational talent like these two to come in and help the national team. I've also both made them players for Malaga in the second division in Spain because I've got Spanish relatives who live in Malaga, so they are my de facto Spanish club. So who's going to have the better career? Well, let's simulate and find out. Now, sadly, these Wonder Kids aren't actually real, but if they were real, you could follow them on the One Football app to track their careers. It's the best football app out there that I use to track real players in real life to find out how good the Football Manager Wonder Kids are in real life. Also, with the World Cup going on right now, there is no better place to keep up with all of the information that you can get on the World Cup with detailed match reports and up-to-date scores quicker than any other app. So if you want to help me and the channel out, feel free to download the One Football app from the top line of the description for free. So I've gone 1 year into the future because this might be the only year that both players play for Malaga, and I want to find out how they compare in the exact same team. And as you can see, the perfect striker with 20 out of 20 for every single attribute played almost double the amount of games as the other striker, suggesting that they do actually play a one-striker system at Malaga. You've got 36 goals on this side to 20 goals on the other side, 14 assists to 3 assists, so already we can tell that the perfect striker with 20 out of 20 attributes for everything is way better. But interestingly, Malaga's tactics only play one striker, which is bizarre if you've got these two generational talents. Kept them both in the team at the same time in a two-striker system, surely. And so looking at the development tactics for perfect striker with 20 out of 20 for every attribute, they've played all games as a striker this season. But because they're only playing one striker systems, as you can see, the other striker with only 20 out of 20 for attributes as an advanced forward has actually played most of the games this season on the right wing. Which actually, 15 goals from 22 appearances on the right wing is impressive. But that seems wild to me because surely this player should be playing as the striker. They've got the perfect attributes to be the striker. The other player has got perfect attributes for everything, so actually be more suited to play on the right wing than up front than the other player. So why have they done it that way around? I don't know. But early indications show that the player with 20 out of 20 for everything has taken the lead. I also should have named them something a bit more imaginative as well, because I've said 20 out of 20 for like too many times in today's video already, and I'm getting confused. Okay, so jump to 2030, 8 years in the future from the start of this experiment, and these players are both now 25 years old and coming towards the peak of their careers. As you can see, the perfect striker with 20 out of 20 for every single attribute is playing for Barcelona, and the one who's only got 20 out of 20 for the striker role is at Man City. So both at different clubs and both at very good clubs. As you can see here from the stats, it's wildly different. The perfect striker with 20 out of 20 for everything has got 58 appearances and 45 goals this season compared to 30 and 20 for the other player. So again, the hypothesis that the perfect striker with 20 out of 20 for everything is going to be a lot better is looking like it's coming true. And so if we start off with the 20 out of 20 striker, he's currently at Barcelona, as you can see, left Malaga at the end of his contract for a free to go to Barcelona rather than being bought out by another club, which is interesting. But as you can see, he has done incredibly well, scoring a ton of goals, not quite getting a goal a game in the league for Barcelona, but not far off it. What is really impressive though is the number of assists they're getting as well. That is crazy. And as you can see from this past season, they're playing every single game as a striker, with those 45 goals coming as a striker. They've also developed some traits too. They like to play the killer ball often, beat the offside trap and play 1-2s. They didn't put any traits on these players to start off with, so that's interesting that they've developed those over the course of their careers. So that's interesting he's developed that over the course of his career. So the striker with attributes only needed to be an advanced forward. He's currently playing for Man City, but was actually at Bayern Munich for quite some time before City bought him for 137 million. That's really impressive. The goal scoring tally is still very good, but not quite as impressive as the other player we previously saw. We're kind of here in the mid to high 20s, whereas the previous player was in the high 20s to low 30s. But again, wildly, is playing 43 games on the right wing. Not as a strike, which is so bizarre. So runs with the ball through the centre, cuts inside from both wings. I presume he's being played as an inside forward, but he's being wasted on the wings. I mean, we literally made him the perfect player to be an advanced forward. And yet, if we look at the right wing to be an inside forward, for example, inside forward on attack, to be fair, it's actually very similar. It's only long shots and flair where he's lacking a little bit there, to be honest. Okay, so maybe I can see why they've put him on the wing instead, because actually he's got the attributes to be an inside forward very, very well. But by the end of Season 8, the perfect striker with 20 out of 24 everything has picked up 4 Ballon d'Ors in a row, and the other player has come third in one season, second in the next, second in the next, and second in the next. So just the runner-up basically to the player with 20 out of 20 attributes for everything, which is maybe what we kind of predicted at the start of this experiment. Okay, jumping to 2038, they're both 33 years old now, right at the end of their careers, still playing for Barcelona and Manchester City, and actually it is very, very close this time. They're both playing 50 games across the season, but the perfect striker with 20 out of 20 is getting 41 goals and 20 assists compared to the 36 goals and 2 assists for the non-perfect striker that is perfect still. You know what I mean? I really should have called them something different. It's really, really annoying me. And again, the perfect striker with 20 out of 20 for everything is playing as a striker the entire time. Across the entire career then, my word, just in the league, as you can see here, 560 appearances, 451 goals and 193 assists, with just the small number of 181 Man of the Match awards. Looks like the very highest goal scoring season though was the 28-29 season, where in all competitions they got 53 goals in 60 appearances. The other striker though is finally playing every single game as a striker, which is why they've got 36 goals this season and a lot better in terms of goal scoring ability, I'm sure. Still at Man City though, and that goal scoring is really impressive still, in the mid-20s every single season, but doesn't have as many goals or assists or player of the match awards as the perfect striker with 20 out of 20 for everything. In 523 appearances, there's 372 goals, 50 assists and 139 player of the matches. But the average rating, although a little bit lower, is still impressively higher at 7.79. And to be fair, the best season for this player wasn't too far off the best season for the other player. The 33-34 season, they only got 26 goals in the league, but 45 goals in all competitions, albeit in 63 appearances. So at least at club level, what we can say is that the perfect player with 20 out of 20 for everything is better and has had a better career. But what about internationally? Well, this player here, as you can see, with only 10 out of 20 for most attributes, has got 98 goals in 179 appearances for Spain. Whereas a striker with 20 out of 20 for everything has got 207 goals in 183 caps. So, I mean, Spain must have won every single World Cup at this stage, right? Okay, they won 2, which is quite impressive. I'm sure they'll be very happy with those 2 World Cup awards to their name. But only managed to win 1 European Championship, as Turkey won the most recent one. Congrats to them. But I think it's pretty telling looking at the Ballon d'Or winners. The perfect striker with 20 out of 20 for everything has won 10 awards, which is mind-blowing. That's just insane numbers. The other striker only won 1, but did win it fairly recently in 34-35 with the 39 goals in 56 appearances. And to be fair, I think they shouldn't have won it. I think the award winners must have felt sorry for them, because for me, looking at those attributes, this guy deserves it more. So despite both players having 200 out of 200 current ability, obviously having 20 out of 20 for every single attribute does provide that little bit more edge when it comes to being the perfect player, which is really interesting. If you want to see something a little bit similar to this though, Dr. Benji and I trapped Jurgen Klopp and Pep Guardiola in the National League for 10 seasons, and this video on screen right now will show you exactly what happened.